I once had a friend tell me that she couldn't do yoga because she wasn't flexible. And I was like, but that's why we need yoga. The way we live and work in the Western world, sitting in chairs and in cars all day, inevitably leads to tight, painful muscles. And not only is this uncomfortable, it greatly affects your health and longevity. Your body's ability to move energy and blood and oxygen relies on having muscles that aren't constantly tight and stressed out. And probably the number one easy thing you can do for your health is to have a daily stretching routine. And so that's what I'm going to help you with today. These are 5 of my very favorite beginner stretches for flexibility and whole body wellness. Before we get started, I want to tell you about my new Patreon site. Many of you have been asking how you can support me and this channel. And so if you practice with me often and you enjoy my teaching, I'm asking you, please follow the link below in the video description and check out my Patreon site. I'm going to start offering some really exciting things to patrons only. I'm super excited. I'll talk more about that later in the video. But for now, let's check out these amazing stretches. All right, this first stretch is actually a combination of a few stretches and some movement that you can do anywhere, anytime, even in your office cubicle, which I highly recommend. And it helps to wake up all of the systems of the body, so it helps to move energy and breath and blood and oxygen. It also helps to decompress the spine and lengthen and open all of the tight muscles of the low and middle back. Get all of that open and free. And you'll just feel more alive, more creative, more awake after just 1 minute of this. Okay, so we're going to start with feet about hip distance apart. And as you inhale, sweep the hands up to the sky, palms meet overhead, and then you slice down through the center line of the body, bend into the knees, so really deep bend in the knees. And now you're just going to wave up the spine, so let the upper body and the head hang heavy until the very end, and then curl the upper body up, reach up to the sky, palms meet, and then again we bow, bend into the knees, and wave up the spine. Remember, the upper body and head hang until the very end, and then lift, reach up, palms meet, and we just keep this going. Picking up the pace just a little bit. Inhale, reach up, palms meet, fold, bend, wave up the spine. Inhale, reach, exhale, fold, bend the knees, wave up the spine. Nice. And find a pace that works for you, something that feels fun and energizing. Big breaths on the way up, full exhale on the way down. And just feel the spine opening up. Couple more times. Really move the breath. One more, and then as we inhale, we rise up, palms meet, and bring the palms to the heart, and then let the hands fall to the side. Dip your chin to your chest, hands to the hips, and roll right ear to the right shoulder, and left ear to the left shoulder. We'll do some neck rolls here. Just go back and forth a few times, rolling the head nice and easy. Now, if it feels good, you can let your head fall all the way back and take some full circles, but only if that feels good. Take the circles in both directions if you're taking full circles. Let's do 2 or 3. And then as you inhale, stand up nice and tall. Bring the right hand to the top of the head and just let the weight of your arm pull the right ear down to the right shoulder. Let the left ear fall away from the left shoulder so that left hand just hangs down. And you're not pulling the head with muscle strength here. You're just using the weight of the arm. You can look down a little bit and feel the stretch move into the back of the neck. Oh, it's so, so good. And then bring the head back to the side. And release the hand. Then we'll take it to the other side. Left hand, top of the head. Gently letting the weight of the arm pull that left ear down to the left shoulder. And the right shoulder falls away from the right ear. That right arm is hanging heavy. Breathe into the space of the Neck, look down a little bit. And bring the head back to the side. Release the head, stand up nice and tall, blink your eyes open. So good. Okay, this next stretch is a shoulder stretch. There are 4 muscles in the shoulder that make up the rotator cuff. 2 that control internal rotation, and 2 that control external rotation. And everyone is rotating their shoulders all day long. So it's not uncommon that these rotator cuff muscles get painfully tight. And not only is this uncomfortable, but it limits your ability to use your shoulder over time more and more, and that's no good. So this is a stretch that I do every single day, and I recommend that everyone do at least some version of this stretch every day because it's so effective and it's so simple. So take the towel, roll it up into a tube, and drape it over the right shoulder. And you're going to take your left hand, reach under and up, grab the bottom of the towel, and with the right hand, grab the top of the towel. Reach the right hand up, and then walk your hands as close as you can. You don't have to overdo it here. Just get them as close as you can. Now, you're probably feeling a little stretch in the left shoulder there. That's good. With the right hand, the top hand, start to pull up toward the ceiling. So you're pulling that left hand up your back, and you can wiggle the left hand to free it up a little bit. And just pull it up until you feel a nice stretch. And maybe that's where you stay. You can hang out there for 20, 30 seconds. Great. If you want to take it a little deeper, keep doing that. Pull up, hold for a few seconds, walk the grip tighter, and then pull up again. Hang out, walk the grip tighter, pull up again until you're really feeling a good stretch. And when you're at your fullest expression, you hang out for 20, 30 seconds and just enjoy the sensation in the shoulders here. You slowly begin to loosen and release the grip and take it to the other side. 20, 30 seconds there, your shoulders will thank you. This next stretch is a hamstring stretch. And the hamstring is one of the larger muscles in the body, and it's notorious for getting tight and ornery when we sit all day long. And when this happens, the hamstrings are connected to the sit bones. So the hamstrings pull on the sit bones, they pull on the hips, they pull on the spine, and they do all kinds of nasty stuff with the spine and the low back. You don't want tight hamstrings, but guess what? We all have tight hamstrings because we all sit a lot. So this is a great beginner stretch that will help you loosen and open those hamstrings up and give you some low back relief. Okay, start with the feet about hip distance apart. And we're going to bend into both knees and bring the hands to the ground. Now, if it's a challenge to get the hands to the ground here, you can stack some blocks or some books and put your hands up, even on a chair. Bending into the knees, lift the right heel. So you're up on the ball of that right foot. And then from there, you're going to begin to straighten the left leg by pushing the left thigh bone straight back toward the back wall. Just straighten it as much as you can until you feel a nice deep stretch. Now you want to feel weight in all 4 corners of the left foot here. So not too far forward into the ball of the foot, not too far back into the heel, but all 4 corners. And keep on pushing that left thigh bone back to straighten the leg. Now, if you want to deepen here, let the upper body melt a little bit deeper, fold a little bit deeper over that straight left leg. Breathe into it. Hold that about 30 seconds or so, maybe more if it feels good. And then when you're ready, lower the right heel, bend into both knees, and do the other side. Lift the left heel, and then begin to straighten that right leg by pushing the right thigh bone straight back. Feel the stretch up the back line of the leg and the hamstring. And again, all 4 corners of the right foot bearing weight, not too far back or forward. And if you want to deepen, fold a little bit deeper. Let the upper body hang. You can even grab that the heel on the straightened leg and pull the heart back toward the thigh to deepen if that feels good. And then after about 20, 30 seconds, Lower the left heel and slowly rise up. You can do another round, do another couple rounds, as many as feels good, and your hamstrings and your low back will be much happier. So this next stretch we'll do from a seated position, and it's one of my favorites because it gets so many things. We target the low back with this one, but we also open up the hips. We also open up the hamstrings. So you get a lot for your money here. The main muscle we're stretching, lengthening here, is known as the QL, or quadratus lumborum. And that's the muscle in the low back that lives between the top of the hip and the lowest rib. And it's one of those muscles where if you sit a lot, it gets chronically tight and it's very uncomfortable. So this is going to really help you if you have low back stiffness, soreness, pain due to a tight QL. All right? So we're going to bring the sole of the right foot inside that left thigh. And then with the left hand, place it inside that extended left leg. And take the right hand up to the sky, look up toward the top hand, and then bring the right hand behind the head and push the head back a little bit, and then spiral the heart open so the elbow starts pointing up and back as you open up the heart to the sky. Now, you may already be feeling a nice stretch in the low back here. You can stay here for a few. And if it feels good, you can start to walk that left hand further forward, right down the line of the extended left leg until you feel a nice little stretch. And it might not take very long before you feel that, right? Keep breathing, keep opening up the heart, gazing toward the sky, elbows pointing up to the sky here. And then again, you stay here for a few. If things open up a little bit more, you walk that left hand a little farther. Now the key is you want to leave the right sit bone pressed into the earth. Don't let that right sit bone rise up. So the right sit bone stays rooted to the ground. And just hang out here for a minute or so. Now, if you're feeling really open, you could take this right hand and reach all the way over and grab, where is it? There it is. Grab the left toe and look up under that right arm to the sky. Now, for some of you, you can grab the outside of the left foot with that left hand. For some of you, this will be inaccessible, uncomfortable. That's fine. No problem. You stay here, and then over time, you'll find that this left hand can go further and further as you open up the QL muscle. Do it for a minute or so on each side, and you'll be amazed at how much better your back will feel after just a couple days. Okay, this last stretch is a good one. I do it in almost all of my yoga classes as part of the warm-up or the cool-down, and it's figure 4 or reclined pigeon. So make your way to your back, and placing or leaving the left foot on the ground, you're going to take that right ankle and place it on top of the left thigh just below the knee and flex the right foot here. And then hang out there. If you're feeling a good stretch there, great. Extend outward energetically through the right knee. So you're not moving this knee, it's just an energetic direction, extending outward through the knee. Now, if you feel like you have a little bit more space, you can start to bring the left knee in, either interlacing the hands behind the left hamstring, hanging out there, that's cool. Or if you have even more space, you can take the hands in front of the left shin. Now, as you breathe, relax. Let the muscles of the face, the cheeks and jaw soften and relax. Let your shoulders melt down to the mat, and let your low back and your sacrum, that's that little heart-shaped bone at the base of the spine, let all of that trend down toward the mat. And ideally, it's touching the mat. The hips and the sacrum, the low back are touching the mat. Breathe. You can stay here for a minute, 2 minutes. So this is opening up the right hip on the outside of the right hip. It's a big muscle. It takes a little time to get in there. And as you come into this, you may feel very awkward at first. You may feel tilted. You may feel that the lower back is not planted on the mat, that's okay. Breathe and relax and let your body slowly find its way down to comfort, or at least relative ease, right? Breathe, relax, and then switch it up. On the other side, same thing. Now I'm going to show you a version of this against the wall too. It's fantastic against the wall. You can use the wall as an assist to get even a deeper stretch in the hip. Okay, we found a nice, sturdy, solid wall. If you have a mirror, a floor-to-ceiling mirror or something, please don't use that for this exercise or any exercise where you're pressing, pushing, especially handstands where you're kicking up against the wall. A wall, okay? All right, thank you. So we're going to start by getting the hips right next to the wall in a seated position, and then you're just going to pivot and sweep the legs up the wall here. It's a nice little trick to keep the sit bones right against the wall instead of putting the legs up and trying to scoot. That doesn't work very well. Okay, from here, place that left ankle just below the knee, flex the left foot. And here's the key, folks. For the wall exercise, you want the sit bones as close to the wall as possible. And they may come off a little bit, but the sacrum is always pushing into the mat. You want to feel the hips and the low back and the sacrum pushing into the mat. And this is how we use the wall. Now you can stay here. Maybe this is a good stretch. Maybe you're already feeling that stretch in the outside of that left hip. Great, stay here. Or begin to bend that right knee, little bit at a time, and it won't take much. You'll feel that stretch right away on the outside of the left hip. Now, what you might find is the butt starts to lift or the low back starts to lift off the mat, and this is where the wall comes into play. When you start to move the right foot down and the low back lifts, push the right foot into the wall, push the low back down to the mat. Oh yeah, and then feel that stretch. Now that's where it's at. That's why we use the wall here. And then you keep on going. You find your place of full expression, right? You walk that right foot down a little bit more. Now when the low back lifts, push the foot into the wall, push the low back down to the mat. Feel that beautiful sensation and just hang out there. And keep on walking the foot down until you find a place where you're like, okay, that's enough stretch. That's good. i.e., your fullest expression, right? And just hang out there. Maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes. Again, the hips are large muscles. They need a little time for the stretch to take effect. So breathe into it. Keep pushing the right foot into the wall, pushing the sacrum down to the mat. After your 2 minutes, slowly walk the foot back up the wall and switch legs. And the great thing about the wall, too, is when you're done, you can take both legs up the wall, close your eyes, and take a little sweet shavasana. I hope you loved those stretches. I really think they're going to help you. As I mentioned earlier, I have a brand new Patreon site. So if you practice with me often, if you really enjoy my practice and my teaching, please come on over to Patreon and show some support and love. And I want to give back to you too. So I have some really cool monthly live streams planned for Patreon-only members. We're going to do Yoga 101, which is like a workshop, a live stream workshop of basic concepts and postures and poses. Talk about healthy alignment. I'll talk about options for different body types and injuries, how to work around. I'll take questions. It'll be cool. We're going to do Tea Time with David, which I'm really excited about. It's just an opportunity for us to get together in community, hang out, drink some tea. I'll pick a yoga-related topic, and we'll riff on it. We'll laugh together. It'll be super fun. I'm going to do a monthly live stream called The Magic of Mantra, where I talk about a particular ancient mantra. I tell you its origin stories. I talk about the effects and the application, and then we sing it together. All over the globe, sharing our voices in love. I mean, how cool. I'm really excited about that. And some other really cool Patreon-only stuff as well. So please check out my Patreon site. All the information is in the video description. Love you so very much. Have a beautiful day.